And lastly, I know the past week or at least 5 days has kind of been a whirlwind. I've seen some of the interviews and posts, but Conor McGregor posts about you 5 days ago on Instagram, I believe. What do you think kind of prompted him or provoked him to do that?
What prompted him? I the problem with Conor McGregor is he's a drug addict lush at the post, and I said, and I thought about what time it was in Ireland because I'm Italian. I go to Italy a lot, so I know I'm familiar with the European times. I was like, it's very early morning hours on a Friday night in Ireland. This cokehead lush probably just got home from a night of binging and started to feel down about himself, realizing he's a degenerate loser, and he started to think to himself, and he started to post and he started to just go on this rant, and he included me, he included Khabib. But the poor guy, poor Conor. Connie's funny because he's a compulsive liar, but it's funny because in his lushness, in his drunk and highness that he had, he forgot that everybody saw the Khabib fight, so he couldn't lie about it. I think he mistook the sparring tapes that he has hidden for the Khabib fight, and then he was so drunk that he didn't realize which ones he had hidden and which ones were public, because he started to make like in the Khabib fight, he didn't tell him that it was just business. He started to make like he didn't say those things when the entire world on video saw these things, and he was trying to deny them in the post. I think it shows really it's a revealing of his character. If he's willing to lie or try to lie about something that everybody saw, the whole world saw, I think people can probably understand how much he's lying about, in the tape that he has of me and him sparring, But I think at this point, if you can make judgment out of about 15 seconds, and some of it is repeat footage, some of it is not even new footage. I mean, it's 15 seconds, but it's like some of it is replaying the same thing from two different angles. I think if you can make up out of 36 minutes, if you can come up with a conclusion out of that, and you've watched enough fights educated wise, I think you're pretty much a born loser. I think you don't know what you're talking about, and this goes to show for everybody. I remember Max Holloway trolling me during the Conor McGregor beef that I had originally, and and then he was trying to troll about the fact that McGregor's 15 seconds of fame on the sparring session. If you watch Max Holloway's last fight, he got his ass beat for parts of it, and he beat the other guy's ass for parts of it, and he won in the end. You can easily make a highlight reel just showing Max getting his ass beat left to right. You know what I'm saying? But even a groupie like that, you're a championship commentator, you're a championship fighter in mixed martial arts, and you're still being a groupie for, I guess you can call him his father, because the guy legitimately beat him. The guy didn't legitimately beat me. You know what I'm saying? Like if everybody sees the sparring, they'll know that. But so I can hold my head and go to sleep. Maybe Max feels like he has to kiss Conor's ass because he can't because he knows he didn't beat him. But I don't know. I just felt like Connie is like very emotional, very very feminine and emotional in that way, and it's tough because I know like genetically women have more estrogen and they get more emotional, and it's tough because when you've been a piñata and you've been beat up and then you create this whiskey just to get yourself drunk all the time. The whiskey tastes like piss, by the way. I mean, I don't know how anybody.
You tried it?
Yeah, I don't know how anybody would try that whiskey when you have things like Jameson and normal companies you can buy. But really, I think maybe sales aren't going as good as they're supposed to either. I mean, I don't know what he expected with that shit taste, But really, I think he's getting a little bit emotional. I think he's getting a little bit more, and he can't figure out who to win because if he looks at his MMA options, you got Tony Ferguson, you have a rematch with Khabib. Al Iaquinta will beat his ass if you really want to talk about Italian New Yorkers. You got Al Iaquinta will fuck him up as well. Like he doesn't really know where to go. I mean, you just look at Al, for example. Raging out. He took a fight with Khabib on 3 days' notice and did a better performance than Conor. He was training for a 3-round fight, fights Khabib on a 5-round fight in a championship fight when he had been in training just for a 3-round fight on the undercard. Goes the distance, acquits himself very well. Then you have Conor who talked shit from here to Kingdom Come, the entire promotion for Khabib, even before the fight was ever signed, sells you all these wolf tickets, and then in the end he gets there and he's looking for a way out after round 2 or 3. He's already looking to make business propositions with Khabib, like telling him it's just business and don't hurt me because I didn't really mean it, guy. Like now you're kicking the shit out of me and I'm sorry, don't hurt me. It's just business. Like I mean. like I said, it's a bit of a feminine trait there, you know, and actually women are. I've seen plenty of women tougher than Conor McGregor at this point, you know. But I feel for him because, you know, I saw him put that post up, and then he was lying in the post too, and I said, man, he's even gotten to the point where he's so drunk that he's lying about what he said in the video, where he's so drunk that he doesn't realize it's on video. You know, what he told Khabib. You know, like he doesn't realize what he told Khabib is on video, and he's trying to lie about it. So imagine somebody with common sense who would think, man, if he's lying about things that are public, imagine what he's lying about with the Malignaggi boxing. You know what I'm saying? But when I thought about that, then I thought about it, and I said, you know what? Everybody's been bullying this guy. You know, everybody's been you know, talking down to him. You know what? Good for him. Good for you, Connie. You know what I'm saying? Stand up for yourself. You know, like, you know, give it back. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's being exemplary. You know, stand up to the bullies. You know, like he fell down. You know, everybody's bullying him, beating him up. You know, he's the piñata. You know, everybody, no matter what sport he fights in, he gets beat up everywhere. You know, so I felt like, you know what? Good for you. You know, I was telling a reporter this the other day. You ever seen Goodfellas? You know, you ever seen the movie Goodfellas? Well, you know, there's a scene where, you know, there's one of the characters is, they call him Spider, and he's the one who brings the drinks at the card table while the gangsters are playing, you know. And one of the scenes, Joe Pesci gets mad at him because he's too slow, you know, and he gets mad at him. He starts shooting at the ground, and he starts trying to make him dance. Like, you don't dance for anybody else, dance for me. And he shoots him in the foot. And, you know, it's based on a true story, mind you. And shoots him in the foot. Now they got to go to the hospital and get him wrapped up. So you see the next scene, Spider's back. And Connie kind of reminds me of Spider in this, that he's getting beat up. He gets himself back together. He comes back and tries again. You know, he gets beat up again, and he keeps believing in himself. So Spider comes back, and, you know, Joe Pesci starts with him again, and Conor and Spider goes, you know what? Why don't you go fuck yourself? You know, and Robert De Niro, who's in the scene as well, you know, he knows Joe Pesci's character is a real killer. So Robert De Niro's character gets up and goes, "Oh, all right, Spider, don't take no shit from nobody." And he starts tipping him. You know, he starts putting money on the table. He starts tipping him, and then Joe Pesci just gets up and shoots Spider and kills him because he gets mad. But the point was, he reminded me of Spider in that scene. Well, you know what? He's getting beat up, and everybody's using him as this guy who they get to smack around left and right, and he feels bad, and he's mad, and he stands up for himself a little bit. I felt like De Niro. You know, I wanted to give him a tip. You know, like yeah, you go for it. I'm a quitter. You know what I'm saying? Like, good for you. Good for you. You brave guy. Good for you.
But I mean, was it random for you that, you know, he kind of brought your name back up? And
no, he does that every few months. You know, he does this every few months. He did it, I think, in the summer on Twitter. He tweeted it. You know, then he'll bring it up in an interview here and there. You know, he does it every few months. You know, and because he knows he has like a legion of groupies. You know, you got to be a real groupie at this point. You know, to not understand the whole situation or everything. And I'm not just talking about fans. I mean, fans are always groupies. You know, that's the way they are most of the time. You know, but I'm talking about even reporters. You know, full blown reporters are groupies. You know what I'm saying? You still have reporters reporting this as a knockdown, even in the sparring. You still have reporters reporting this as however they want to report it. Like, I can't let it go, buddy. I let it go a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm living my life. You know, this guy's kind of it's tough for him because, you know, he knows when he goes to sleep that I'm telling the truth, and everything I've said, he's little by little he's proved it right. He didn't even mean to prove me right. He just keeps proving me right because that's just who he is. You know what I'm saying? He's a quitter. He's got no balls, and if you put him in tough situations, that's what's gonna happen. You know, and now he's in a situation where he's looking for the easiest time to get money, and he can't find it because his weight class is stacked with talent in MMA. He can't win a boxing match for his life. So where's he gonna go? So he thought to himself, let me challenge Tenzin Nasukawa. You know what I'm saying? You're not Floyd Mayweather though. You don't get that kind of free money to box a guy 20 pounds smaller just for $9 million, just because you're a famous celebrity. When you're famous for getting beat up, like Conor McGregor is, you don't get to get those opportunities. So you can't ask for them because you're gonna end up with an egg on your face. You end up looking stupider, you know. And Tenzin basically told him to kick rocks, you know. And so now I think that's why he had the drunk night. He was depressed. He thought he was actually gonna be able to get Tenzin. He thought his name was match up to Floyd's. And when he wasn't able to get Tenzin, I think he had like a tough night where you know, he got high and drunk, and, you know, he was you know, a little bit depressed, and he went and posted on his Instagram like a high school girl, you know, and you know, he put out his dirty laundry out there, and he was mad, and that's how it went out. But, you know, to a degree, I felt for him though, but in some degree, I was also proud of him. He stood up for himself. Don't keep getting smacked around like that. If they keep smacking around, don't worry about it, Conor. I'll come over, I'll smack you around some more too. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Everywhere you look, you're gonna get smacked around. No matter whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, you're gonna get the shit smacked out of you all over the place. There's nobody you can beat left, unless you go all the way down and we find them a cab driver somewhere, and then all his groupies will come back and say, yo, you know what? He won a fight. Okay, maybe you can do that. You find yourself one of these cab drivers out here in Vegas. We'll get him a win that way. Otherwise, legitimately, as a high-level fighter, he's probably one of the most overrated fighters that have come along in the history of sports, of combat sports. Because longevity really makes you great, and he hasn't had very much longevity. His time at the UFC, he never defended a single title that he won. The Aldo knockout was in 13 seconds, but you look at Aldo since that fight, he was already on the way down. I also think when you get a knockout in 13 seconds, you caught the guy, which is, it's not luck because you caught him with his own fist. He timed him. But at the same time, we didn't get to see, how you would have stood up to some of those leg kicks of Aldo and so on and so forth. You get beat by Nate Diaz on last minute notice. Chad Mendes almost beat you on last minute notice. You're beating guys who are fighting last minute, or you're fighting that they haven't really, or you're barely getting decisions. Like the Nate Diaz rematch, you could have won either way. You know what I'm saying? The first Nate Diaz fight, he's the one quitting. Nate's been partying in Mexico. How are you tired and you're quitting already? You know what I mean? How's that possible? The guy took the fight on 10 days notice and he's got more energy than you? No. He's got balls. You don't. That's the difference. And that's what people outside don't understand either. Having balls means committing to what you signed to. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean, Paulie, get in the cage now. No, I didn't commit to that. Conor committed to boxing by saying he beat me up in boxing. So he's got to commit to it now. You know what I'm saying? Just like he commits to the cage every time and then doesn't finish. He ends up quitting. Having balls means you commit to something and you see it through, whether it's tough or whether it's not. Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner has never been stopped. But whether he wins or whether he loses, and people sometimes he rubs people the wrong way. But the kid has character. He always stays in there for the whole way. And whether it's a tough fight or not, he's gonna see it through. And he's gonna see it through whether he's got to suffer through it or not. That's called character. You know what I mean? And somebody like Conor McGregor has none of it. And that's what's funny about somebody like Conor McGregor, because I always think to myself, guys who like to give stories about how tough they had it coming up and how tough your life was coming up and how it was before you came to fighting. Everybody has a story, but really the cage or the ring reveals your story, because if you really had it that bad, if you really had it that tough in your life, when it comes time to face the music, you don't quit. You see it through. Even if you take your beating, you see it through, because in the grand scheme of things, if life has treated you very tough and you've had a bad life, getting your ass beat is not that big of a deal. Getting your ass beat, if you've really had a tough life, like people claim, the ring will reveal that. In none of my fights that I went through so many tough fights and never crossed my mind to quit. Even fights where I was going to get stopped, I try to, argue with referees and try to tell them, let me see this fight through. Let me see this fight through. And even in fights where I went the distance, broken bones and everything, you see it through regardless. And I think that, having character, that's what it means. Having balls, that's what it means. And he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that. And people don't understand that. That's what having balls means. You commit and you see it through when you commit to a task. He went and looked for that Khabib fight, and people are always looking for the silver lining because he has so many fans, and they're saying, oh, well, he fought the best fighter ever. Yeah. The best fighter ever when he was in his prime, not the best fighter ever when he's 40 and retired and hasn't fought in 2 years and barely trained for you. That's not the best fighter ever. Let's face the reality here for all these groupie MMA fans and reporters even. That wasn't the best fighter ever that he fought. That was Floyd Mayweather, who was at one time the best fighter ever, retired, barely trained for Conor McGregor aside from some road work and some shadow boxing and maybe pad work the last 2 weeks of his camp. And then he went in and smacked him around. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't the best fighter ever. And also Khabib. He didn't fight Khabib because he wanted the challenge of a tough fight. He fought Khabib because he saw Al Iaquinta, Raging Al, my New York boy, got in there, and after who was scheduled to fight 3 rounds, fought 5 rounds, gave Khabib a good fight for 5 rounds, and it was like a moral victory. And instead of giving Al credit, Conor says, you know what? this guy's falling off. He has trouble making weight. He's falling off. I think I can handle him because Al just handled him, and Al was scheduled to fight for 3, and he gave him a tough fight, and Al just, lost a good fight on points. I can handle this guy. Okay? So that's why he took the Khabib fight. He didn't take the Khabib fight because he said, you know what, let me test myself. He took the Khabib fight because he thought Khabib making weight was killing him, and now he's going to struggle, and I'm getting him at the right time. Let me jump in right now. If Al had been obliterated by Conor McGregor, by Khabib, if Khabib had obliterated Al Iaquinta, the way Khabib obliterates a lot of people, say Khabib stopped Al Iaquinta in devastating fashion, Conor McGregor still would be talking about Khabib and never fighting him, just like he does to me. He'd still be mentioning names and never fighting them. He's the king salesman, but he's the biggest bitch in MMA or boxing. But because he's a great salesman, people buy into it. So he got himself into the Khabib fight, signed that check. Now his ass has to cash it. So you have to show character. You got to show balls, because that's what character and balls are. You can whatever you commit to, you finish it and you see it through, even if it gets tough. And what happens? Like a little bitch, he quits again. So when he's, when you're posting about bitching, I give him credit for standing up to the bullies. I really do. But you can't use the word bitch if you're Conor McGregor. You can't do it, because he's shown he's the biggest bitch in all sports. And especially that Khabib round 3. Khabib's post on Instagram really made a lot of sense. You will have to live in shame the rest of your life. The rest of your life. You see, with my sparring video, intelligent people will always say, you know what? There's a lot of minutes of that. There's the entire sparring we haven't seen. And you know what? I don't have to live in shame about that, because I know what happened in that sparring. But you, Conor McGregor, and all his fans have to live in shame. Conor has to live in shame for actually looking to quit on worldwide TV. You've been exposed for everything I said you were, having no balls. But also his fans for, still trying to defend him when he clearly showed them he has no balls. But he showed them too. He showed the whole world that he wanted to quit in that moment. He tried, not quitting, but he wanted Khabib to go easy on him so that he could see himself through the distance. Because if Khabib didn't go easy on him, he wasn't going to be able to make the distance, because he knew he would quit. So he said it was just business, hoping in his mind, if he says that, maybe Khabib will be like, let me take it easy on you. It was just business. But that's bitch thoughts, because you have to know as a fighter, the guy's not going to take it out. He's not going to take it easy on you anyway. You're in there and you're fighting. So to even have that thought, you got to be like a certain level of bitch assness. There's got to be like a high level of bitch assness in you for you to even think that and then utter the words. You may think that and catch yourself, but to think that and then utter the words, there is such a high level of bitch assness there that my own words can't describe it. You just have to kind of know it as a fighter what that is. And McGregor, Connie, he sure has it. Good for you.
And Eddie Hearn did say, I saw in that one interview where he would promote the fight if you and Conor.
Yeah, I think everybody would do the fight. I'm signed with Al Heyman. I think Heyman would do it. I think obviously Hearn is doing great things, and he's interested in doing it. Showtime, my boss is Steven Espinosa, and Showtime, they'd be interested in doing it. I think there's a lot of interest. I recently somebody sent me an article where I was saying that it's the most lucrative fight he can get, and then the idiot who wrote the article goes, I guess Paulie doesn't realize guys like Mayweather or a Khabib rematch or things like that. He thinks he's the most lucrative fight Conor can get. Yes, you bitch ass groupie. Yes, because he's not going to take the Khabib rematch because he's going to get obliterated again, so he doesn't want that. And he can't get the Floyd rematch because it's not there for him to take. So yes, bitch assness of groupie reporters. Yes, I am the most lucrative fight he can realistically get. Unrealistically, yes, you can get other ones. Even Nate Diaz. Nate wants $20 million, and you know what? He probably deserves $20 million. But there's no way Dana, that other bitch ass Dana, is going to pay Nate $20 million. So you know what? Realistically, you can't get that fight either. So when I talk about the highest paid fight he can get, I'm talking about realistic chances of making the fight. And I am the fighter that he has the most realistic chance of making the fight for the highest money available to him at this moment. Because the other ones, they're not realistic.
But what would make you interested in kind of having that fight with Conor?
I think winner takes all, because, winner takes all, that means you get all the money in the pot. You don't just get your money, you get my share of the money too, if you can win, so I think winner takes all would be would be a big thing, because it would also put on the line, make him put on the line the fact that he said he beat me up, right? He said that. He factually said this. He said Paulie was damaged, whatever he said. He had brain concussion, whatever his words say. So now it would put you on the spot to now, prove that, where you fight for free. And I think that's interesting for fans to see, because, if if it's that easy and you're giving concussions left and right with this bitch ass power you supposedly had, you know, it's funny. Like, you see that uppercut he hit Floyd around one. Floyd smiled at him and then just kept walking him down. Have you ever seen Floyd so brave and walking anybody down before? Like, you talk about bitch ass power. Like, and I told people he doesn't hit hard, but have you ever seen Floyd so brave to walk anybody down? Floyd's, like I said, I think he's the best fighter ever. But how often have you seen Floyd walk a guy down so carefree, so careless, so like he's having a good time, like that. I mean, I was like. People said this guy had power. I mean, I said it in sparring. I'm like, all right, this guy's power. You know, it's average. It's not like, you know, sissy power, but it wasn't like, you know, something that, you know, out of this world. And I just thought it was ironic how Floyd was walking him down. The guy who never walks anybody backwards, you know, is walking him down like a sissy. And he panicked and he got tired and he quit. But going back to what I was saying, yeah, you know, I think that the fight with me is lucrative in a lot of ways because, you know, you get put on the spot now if you're Connie. You know, you did all this to me, so you get a chance to win all the money. Because if I do winner takes all, we sign winner takes all because I'm willing to do it. You know what I'm saying? You're the one who gave me concussions and all this other stuff, so, right? That's what he says. So winner takes all. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he can feel real confident about it if, according to the way he described the way we worked in camp, right? So winner takes all. That means all the money the fight generates is his. Like, that's definitely the most money he can get. You know what I'm saying? If he can win, of course. You know, so I'm giving you a chance to back up your own words. You know, these are his words, not mine. These are his words. You know, this was a one-sided sparring, and I had damage, and I was stumbling, and everything. So this is his words. You know, not mine. So if you can do that for real, I'm fighting for free, and he's getting all the money.
And that would be the only way you would fight him, right?
You know, I think that would be my first offer. That I would want to do it. I don't think they would take it. I don't. Because he knows what really happened. So I don't think they would take it. But yeah, that would be my first offer. Definitely, without a doubt, winner takes all. I mean, I have no problem doing it. I mean, it's not even a tough fight for me, honestly. Like, it's not even a difficult fight. Like, I don't even need a full training camp. I need half a training camp, and I haven't fought in 2 years. So literally, if you give me like 5 weeks to train for Conor McGregor, it would be harder to make weight than it would be to beat his ass. That's how simple this fight is for me. But you know, I don't see him taking to that, especially Dana. You know, Dana likes to rape everybody. Dana likes to rape him. I mean, speaking of bitch assness, I mean, this guy, he bent over for Dana, spread his ass cheeks wide and let Dana stick it right to him, and then came back up with a smile, hugging and kissing him, and hangs out with this guy, hugging and kissing him and smiling. Like, you know, maybe he liked it. Maybe he liked getting raped like that. I don't know. If I make $80 million and then somebody takes 40 of it before I even pay my taxes or pay the rest of my team, I don't know. That's just me, but I'm not really going to like him that much. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hang out with him. I'm not going to refer to him. I'm not going to chum around with him. But then I think, yeah, we're talking about the biggest bitch in combat sports. Yeah, of course he would. He's like a cuck. You know what I'm saying? Of course he's gonna hang out with Dana, knowing he took him for all that money, and then he's gonna hang around with him like he's his best buddy. They probably call each other on the phone like he's like his best buddy. Like, I thought that was another bitch move. I mean, this guy does one bitch move after another to the point where, you know, you have to see through him at this point, even if you're not smart. I mean, if you're smart and you have any level of street smarts, you saw through him a long time ago. But even if you're not smart and you have no street smarts, if you really take everything I say in this whole interview and you put it together, you know I'm right. You know I'm right because I'm not making anything up that hasn't already been seen or shown. You know what I'm saying?
If Max Holloway and Conor have a rematch, who do you think takes that?
I probably at this point, you know, Max was kind of young when they fought the first time, you know, but I think Max probably beats him as well. I don't think there's really an MMA fight that Conor can win unless he goes down the ladder, like, you know, to mid-range contenders, you know, contenders that he would make famous by them just fighting them because nobody knows them, you know. I don't think there's guys that he can beat otherwise, you know. Like I said, I mean, you get Poirier, you get a Holloway, you get Khabib, Nate Diaz probably beats him, you know, yeah. I mean, they all Al Iaquinta, you know. I don't think he beats any of these guys, you know. So Kevin Lee, I'll just beat Kevin Lee. I don't know. I mean, you're gonna fight a guy coming off a loss if you're Conor, really? Like, I don't know, like you know, that's another bitch ass move. If you take that, then we know you're being a bitch ass, you know. If you're talking all this big stuff and then you're fighting guys coming off losses, you know. So I don't know. I just think that you know, I think Max also beats him, but you know, I'll take either of those guys in boxing. Honestly, I have no problem beating the fuck out of either of them because I don't like either of them. Honestly.
Oh, Max too.
Yeah, Max is acting like a high school troll, like a high school kid trolling me when I had the beef with Conor. I'll beat the shit out of him too because he was trying to go like body shot debates on Twitter with on the internet. I'll fuck him up and just on body shots. I'll knock his ass out just on body shots alone. You know, if he comes to boxing and tries to go that route. But honestly, between them, I think Max probably beats Conor as well. Like I said, I don't think Connie has very many options for him. But like I said, those are my opinions.